Everybody, this is Apba Brian with Apba Baseball Classics. Only we're doing football picks today, and this is something we're going to start new and do this on every Thursday morning. We have a guest today. That's Dan Mattingly. He is my son-in-law, and Mattingly is, the same Mattingly. He's related to Don Mattingly. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
Thanks, Brian.
Let's get started with the picks. Dan's out in western Kansas, by the way, the land of cows, and we were just out there over the Labor Day weekend. Had a great time. First game on Thursday night. There's one game on Thursday night. There's 9 early Sunday games and 4 late games. Of course, the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. We'll pretty much take these in order. Start with the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, Zach Martin's injured, and they've not worked together much in the preseason. Who knows if Dak Prescott is handy. What are you thinking, Dan?
Well, I've got the Bucks. That's probably an easy one. Everything I've read sounds like with Brady having a whole off season with the guys, that they're going to probably roll in the NFC.
Yeah, this could be an early one for Tom Brady in a good way. He may not have to play the whole game. We both are picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Indianapolis
Mayflower
Colts.
Took that away.
Old school and old fashioned. All right.
I have the Seahawks in this one. I don't like the QB situation with Indy. Wentz wasn't good last year, and he hasn't had any time with the new team.
I agree. I like Indy's picks, or Indy's defense, and I think they're generally a strong team. But like you say, there's not been much going on. However, I'm going to pick Indianapolis at home and go with that. That's one pick we're going to be disagreeing on. Here is Jacksonville at the Houston Texans.
Oh, well, this will be a good game because both teams stink. I think I like Jacksonville in this one. I think that there are too many questions for the Texans on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, after the trouble that John Watson has gotten into, who knows what's going to – the Texans, I think, are going to be pressed to win most any game, I believe. They've really fallen hard and fast. So I see – and, of course, the Jaguars were down last year, but I see them as an ascending team. I see Texas hitting the depths. Trevor Lawrence looked pretty good in preseason, and I think he'll eventually be a really good NFL quarterback. So I am also picking Jacksonville in Trevor Lawrence's debut. Next, the Philadelphia Eagles are at the Atlanta Falcons.
I have the Falcons in this. I think this is a good bounce back year for them. I think they lost a lot of games by a single score last season, and they return a lot of that team. And even with losing Julio Jones, I think they have a chance to do great things with the rookie tight end Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley out there.
Yeah, Atlanta has 2 good wide receivers, and now they add Kyle Pitts to that. And Matt Ryan, he played with Tony Gonzalez, and he could lift it up there and get those high throws with Gonzalez. He'll do the same thing with Kyle Pitts. And those two will be a good combination. Philadelphia, they look like a mess in preseason. I like the new center they got from Alabama. I think he'll be good. What's Devontae Adams?
Yes, the Alabama receiver that won the Heisman. Yes, he's very good.
He's kind of on the small side, but if you can't catch him and hit him, it should be okay. But I'm with you. I think the Eagles will fall in week 1, and I think the Atlanta Falcons will go home happy. Next, in our early Sunday games, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Washington football team. Don't have a new Washington helmet. I got to do something about that, put some numbers over the Redskin, but haven't done that yet.
Well, I'll make a homer pick on this one. I'm from the DC area, and I'll take Washington. I think getting the Chargers early in the season might help before that offense really starts to click. Tough thing with the Chargers, though. I mean, they are getting a great player back in Derwin James. He's a Swiss Army knife safety, plays all over the field.
Could be the
But
defensive player
I
of the
like
year.
Washington's defense as well.
I like Washington's defense. They've got 3 number 1 picks. They used to have 4 number 1 picks on the defensive line. They got a great defense. If they can move the ball and score points, they're going to have a great season. I think they're going to win the NFC East again. And I know it's hard to pick against teams you're rooting for.
Always.
But I'm recalling Justin Heber, and what he did to the Chiefs on week 1 last year was amazing, and what he did all season long. Bosa's healthy.
Chargers
should have a decent defense. I think they need more running back than Austin Eckler. Eckler is okay, but I think they need more than that. But I'm picking San Diego to go to Washington and win.
There you are.
Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills.
So this is a tough one for me. I feel like you'll say about the same. I think both teams are going to have very good passing offenses. I think I like the Bills in this just because of what Josh Allen brings versus our last taste of Ben Roethlisberger. I hear he lost a lot of weight over the offseason and he's moving a little bit better, but Buffalo has a great defensive line and good secondary. I think that they'll be able to get to Roethlisberger and that there will be more than enough offense to stay ahead.
Yeah, I think this is also one of the best games in the AFC or on the first week. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Steelers had an incredibly great second half last year after a fairly slow start, and I think they're going to continue that on. I think they are ascending. But the Buffalo Bills, the only thing I think they lacked last year was a little bit of size and physicality. I think they're coming in this year, and I think they're dealing with that issue, and I think they will successfully deal with that issue. Josh Allen, I think, is still getting better as he goes along. He's a great quarterback. He played well against the Chiefs in the playoffs and through the season. I am also picking Buffalo. I think they'll beat the Steelers. Next is San Francisco at Detroit.
So it's another one. I think it's a pretty unbalanced game. I think the Niners should roll in this. They're getting, after being the most injured team in the league last year, they should have a healthy Nick Bosa, a healthy George Kittle. Their stable of running backs, I think they had 3 or 4 hurt at the same time at one point last year. And I would not bet against Kyle Shanahan in Detroit. The Lions, they have one of the most depleted rosters I've seen to start a season. And Jared Goff is even a downgrade from Matthew Stafford, in my opinion.
I agree. Mostert is healthy for San Francisco. And yeah, I don't think Goff is as good as Stafford. Lions have a new coach. He seems to be kind of down to earth, as a matter of fact, but they've gone through a lot of coaches lately, and none of them have worked out. So I think that's an easy pick, San Francisco over Detroit. Vikings at the Bengals.
So this is a tough game. I think that if the Bengals were to steal one early, it could be this one. I didn't love what I saw out of their rookie receiver, Joe Burrow's favorite target at LSU. Jamar Chase, he did not look ready for the NFL game. A lot of drops.
He's dropping balls like right and
Yeah.
left in the preseason.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just other than Burrow, there's not a lot to like out there in Cincinnati. So I think the Vikings, even with the inconsistent play of Kirk Cousins, should be able to pull that out.
I agree. Minnesota Vikings are a balanced football team. I think Kirk Cousins is not an elite quarterback, but he's a good one. And their running back, Dalvin Cook, is at the top of his game. He's going to have a good year. It's nice to see Burrow's back. I think this will be a very entertaining game, but I think Minnesota wins it in a close one. Now let's go to the New York Jets. And I happen to have a vintage old Jets helmet. There it is.
Oh, was that the one Namath wore in the Super Bowl?
No, he had the white helmet, but
That's right.
I think the Jets wore that in the 80s, but they're back to it last year and this year. Not a big fan of it, but I got one. And so it's Jets at Carolina.
So I think that Carolina pulls this out. They have a better team. The Jets are going to be lucky to get out of the season with 4 or 5 wins, I think. Not that this couldn't be one of them if the Panthers have a bad game and they get bad play from Sam Darnold, but I think this is a revenge game for him after coming over with a kind of miserable tenure over in New York. Their starting quarterback in Carolina is going to be looking to put one on his old team. And Christian McCaffrey is, when he's out there, he's just special to watch.
He is a game changer. I actually think this is going to be a closer pick than we might think. Zach Wilson had a good preseason. And of the rookies, a lot of people are saying he looks the best. So I think the Jets are an ascending team. Carolina, I've never been a Darnold fan. I watched him play in high school with Mater Day. Was a huge fan then. But he doesn't have the offensive line at Carolina that he had at Mater Day. Actually, he had an overwhelming high school offensive line.
No, easy to play quarterback when you have the blocks.
So, I look to see some Darnold to Arnold's touchdowns. He's a tight end at Carolina. And I'm picking Carolina, but I think this will be a close one as well. Okay, we've got the Arizona Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. This is the last Sunday early game. If you try to watch all the games at once, I don't know how the NFL is going to fit 9 games on the screen. I think you can fit 8 games on the screen, but I don't know about 9.
It's going to be a trick. Yeah, I guess you have to do red zone for this one. So this is a tricky game for me. I know Tennessee's had a lot of COVID issues, but I think that if it comes down to a close game, which with Derrick Henry, you can stay in any game, control the clock and all of that. Arizona's got a fun team on paper, but they make a lot of poor coaching decisions, in my opinion. And they have one of the worst 2-minute offenses other than the miracle in Buffalo last year that I've seen in quite some time. So I'll take Tennessee in this one.
I went a lot of preseason thinking about this game, and I was leaning toward Arizona and Kyler Murray. He is a challenge for NFL defenses. I mean, he can move. But Tennessee did pick up Julio Jones, and that's going to make them more balanced. Some teams, doesn't happen often, but occasionally Derrick Henry does get stopped. The Chiefs stopped him in the playoffs 2 years ago. But now with Julio Jones, Tannehill's a great quarterback. I think he's really, really good. So that's a new option for Tennessee. Love the coach, Vrabel. Is he back? He was on the COVID list. Will he be on the sideline? Do you know?
I believe they're optimistic that he'll be out there from what I read today. But, the information, it comes in and you never know your sources. So if he's out there, that's great for them. I think he's a fantastic coach. And like I said, I think he's a better coach than Kingsbury for sure.
I like Mike Vrabel. When they were in the playoffs, I saw them at the hotel, and he came over to people, signed autographs. He just does things right. He's a good guy. All right, that's it for the Sunday early games. Now the Sunday late games. Let's start with Cleveland at Kansas City.
So this is a tough game, match game. This is one that I'm sure Cleveland is dying to win. I think they're the favorite to win the always tough AFC North. I think be better than the Ravens, definitely better than the Bengals, and even better than the Steelers. But I think the advantage, like we were talking about, is going to be the weather. I think the Chiefs have played in this 95 plus degree weather all summer, and if they can get out on Cleveland, I think that they'll have the horses to win it.
Appa wants the teams to come out in bikinis for the 95 degrees. They changed the weather report today, though. They're saying mid 80s now.
Mid 80s. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's a big improvement as far as the heat goes. I think this is a very tough game to pick. I think Cleveland is our main challenge for the AFC title. I know Buffalo is good, but I worry more about Cleveland. Their offensive line is so dominant. Teller was the best guard I saw all year last year, but it looks like they're moving him on their depth chart from guard to center. So I don't understand the transitions on their offensive line, because their offensive line was very good last year. People are thinking Odell Beckham Jr. will be back better. We'll see.
Yeah, we need to see that before we bank on it. He's just not clicked with Baker at all. And I think he makes Baker a more, I don't know how to say it, a less aggressive quarterback. He locks into Odell more, and the offense stalls out because of it.
Yeah. All right, I think Tyrann Mathieu, we haven't heard anything yet, but he might be back. He's symptom-free, and he only needs 2 positives or 2 negative tests to get back. So he's got to get a negative test by today or Friday, and then another one on Saturday, and he can play Sunday. So I'm confident we'll have him back. I'm maybe more hopeful.
Yeah, right. We'll need it.
Because we've only got 3 safeties on the roster. We got Armani Watts, and Watts is pretty good, but he's not Tyrann Mathieu. Devon Key is not ready.
Not at all.
NFL action. And not a lot of options there. Well, Thornhill's good.
Thornhill's very good.
That means I think we'll have to be on the field every play. So it's, you know.
And that offensive line, that's a heck of a defensive line to go up against your first time as a new 5.
For a couple of weeks, I was thinking picking Cleveland, just to be honest with myself. But when I saw them in the 3rd preseason game against the Vikings, those first 2 drives were the number 1s. Those were perfectly ran, and they are ready to go, especially Mahomes. And Mahomes was not sacked one time the whole preseason. So they have reworked the offensive line, and I do think they've done a great job reworking it. So we're both in agreement, Kansas City over Cleveland. The next late game is Denver Broncos at the New York Giants.
So, fun thing about this game is, I've watched both of these starting quarterbacks for a little while now, and this is one of those where you don't get to see consistent NFL starter from either of them, in my opinion. I think that, Daniel Jones is so careless with the football. He's worth 3 or 4 turnovers a game by himself between the fumbles and the picks. So I trust Bridgewater more, and I like Denver's roster better. Von Miller coming back. I don't know if everybody remembers that. You get an all-world pass rusher if he's anywhere close to what we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley, I think, will be back for New York. He's been looking good in his lead up to week 1. So I think he'll be playing. That will help Daniel Jones. Teddy Bridgewater, like you say, is inconsistent. I think of him pretty much the way I think of Derek Carr. So you don't know what you're going to get. You might get an elite quarterback on a given Sunday, or you might get one that's less than average. But I like Denver's defense. I like that, like you said, Miller is back. And I think overall Denver is a better team than the Giants. So I'm also going with the Broncos. That'll make Apba happy. She is a Bronco fan. Next is the Green Bay Packers at the New Orleans Saints.
So that's a pick 'em for me. I really think that both teams are very good. I think that they've got a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball. I love both defenses. They're extremely similar in their areas where they're strong. I think that, Jameis is going to be the X factor. I mean, he can play like the best quarterback in the league one quarter and then throw 3 picks the next. So it's really what the Saints get out of him from week to week. I like the Packers in this game, but I think they also have that the Saints also have probably the best player on the field with Alvin Kamara.
I also view this as a pick-em game. I worry about Green Bay because Green Bay, I think, might have a start like Tampa had last year, where the quarterback is not on the same page with the rest of the team, and especially the head coach. I think you got the same situation with Green Bay going into this season. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is on the same page with his coach, and I don't blame him. The way their playoff loss went, they should have beat Tampa, and it came down to the end. I think Green Bay made some very bad decisions, and Aaron Rodgers was looking at that too. He thinks they made some bad decisions at the end. So I see them as not on the same page. Overall, I do see Green Bay as a better team than New Orleans. Alvin Kamara is outstanding. I don't have a lot. Jameis Winston is great, but I think inconsistent and can be turnover prone. I do think they're going to find a place for Taysom Hill. He may play some quarterback. He may play other places, and lots of times when he's in other places, he turns up in the end zone with the football. So New Orleans is very dangerous. It's a pick 'em, but I'm with you. I'm going to lean toward Green Bay, but will not be surprised if New Orleans wins this game. Miami at New England.
So this is another interesting one. I know a lot of folks are really high on the Patriots. They think that Mac Jones is going to be the second coming of Mr. Brady. But I think that the Dolphins have a roster that matches up very well. I know that Belichick went out and he loaded a bare cupboard. He went out and got a couple of really talented tight ends that, when they can stay on the field, are very good with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. That always helps with a rookie quarterback having a big target in the middle of the field. Tua, I don't know what you get from him. It seemed like they forced him into action earlier than he was ready last season. So I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. I think that I'm going to go with the Patriots in this, but I could be very wrong because Miami has some very good defensive backs.
Miami has some of the most team speed on defense that is in the NFL. They're fast. But I'm looking at New England, and Mac Jones is a Tom Brady style quarterback. He's not to Tom Brady's level, of course, but he fits their thinking and he fits their offense way better than Cam Newton did. I was surprised that they released Sonny Michel, the running back, but I think New England is putting it back together. And I think one of the main moves they made, they got number 77 back on the offensive line. I forget his name. Is it Brown? I know he's huge, and
he's a big guy. I'm not recalling right at the moment.
He really did a number on us in the championship game 3 years ago. We just couldn't do anything with him.
It is Trent Brown.
Yeah, Trent Brown. Yeah, he's like 6'7" or 6'8", 350 pounds.
Yeah, he's the size of my garage door.
Actually, New England's offensive line, I think, got a little bit too small last couple of years. But now they're back with Brown, and I think that fixes that issue. And I think New England is going to kind of put it back together. This could be a great game, but I am also picking New England. That takes us to the Sunday night game. That's the Chicago Bears at the Los Angeles Rams. And we'll get the Rams up there and get the Bears up there.
So for this one, watching preseason, I don't think the Bears can block anyone. They looked like they just did not have the offensive line to keep up, especially with a talent like Aaron Donald. I think that there's too much depth on this Rams team. The only position I don't really like that they have is their running back spot. But I think in this case, Sean McVay is so excited to have Matt Stafford in the building that they're probably going to throw it about 50 times a game.
They will, and Matt Stafford is glad to be in LA as well. They're going to be opening up with fans in SoFi Stadium. That's going to be huge for them. Chicago, I had a lot of good feelings going into the season until Matt Nagy, just totally wouldn't give Justin Fields a chance. And I think he needed to give Justin Fields a chance because, like you say, the offensive line can't stop anybody.
Right.
And, that's not, I know Andy Dalton had some success in Dallas and is a decent quarterback, but if he's got 2 or 3 bodies hanging on him every play, it's going to be a disaster in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'd say, I'm guessing by week 4, they'll try Justin Fields and get a more athletic, movable quarterback. I always go back, in those situations with your offensive line, I always go back to the thoughts of Hank Stram and his moving pocket, which he introduced to football in the late 60s, early 70s. And the Bears would be a good candidate for that, playing Justin Fields. But, Fields did not get to work with the ones at all in preseason. It's Andy Dalton all the way. And, give Dalton the Cowboys offensive line. You can do some things, but not with Chicago's. We both picked Rams. All right, our final game is the Monday night game, Baltimore Ravens at the Oakland Raiders.
Well, this is another game. I think it'll be a tight game. I think they made a good choice, 2 fairly evenly matched teams. I think the big question, it comes back, as you mentioned earlier, which Derek Carr do you get? Do you get the Derek Carr that beat the Chiefs last season, or do you get, Derek Carr that throws for 190 yards and a touchdown and a pick? Lamar is going to be, I think, better this season than he was last season. I think they're really hurting from that loss of J.K. Dobbins, the running back that was looking to have a breakout second season. But I think with Mark Andrews and with the way that Lamar is able to control a game, that the Ravens should be able to walk out of this, even with their pretty thin receiving core.
All right, we've only differed on a couple, 3 picks, but we're going to differ here. I think right now, going into this game, Oakland is coming in with more offensive weapons than Baltimore is. J.K. Dobbins is out for the year. Then they had Hill. I think his name's Andrew Hill. Hill is the next option, and he tore a tendon, or tore an Achilles tendon a couple days ago. So he's out. And now they signed Le'Veon Bell for the practice squad today, or yesterday. This is going up on Thursday. And for a team that's built to run the football, they don't really have a lot of options to run the football right now. Jackson is a special talent. He can throw the ball, he can throw it accurately, and he can run. Right now, he's their best running back. But I think when Jackson's playing in a panic, and I saw this in his face in the playoffs against the Chiefs, he got into a panic when they got in trouble, and he was done for that game. Oakland, they've got some wide receivers, and they got a terrific tight end in Waller. So if we get the right Derek Carr, I think Oakland opens up the Las Vegas stadium in front of fans in a happy way. So that's our picks. Only 4 we differ. Are you ready for some football?
I'm ready. Can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun watching this game. Well, Jen, thanks for joining us. And thank you, subscribers, for watching this. We're going to do this each week on Thursdays. Tomorrow, I'll be back with another game-winning drive football game. We've got 6 more to play in that project. But I hope you enjoy these picks. And as always, welcome your comments and let me know your picks. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and God bless. All right, subscribers, this is my son, Justin. He's coming to you live from the community that built a B-25 medium bomber during World War II. He lives in the homes that they lived in. And Justin has picks. He's going to join us every Thursday with his picks. And it's going to be a little bit of competition. We didn't do this last year, but we do this, have done this in past years. So my picks, my son-in-law's picks, Dan, and now Justin. And Justin, if you're ready, go ahead and give us your picks.
Okay, so for the Thursday night game, I'm picking Tampa Bay. I just believe that the Buccaneers wide receivers and their defensive line is just going to be too much for Dallas. The Dallas defense, they kind of have a new look, and it's unproven, so I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Okay, gotcha.
And for Seattle and Indianapolis, I'm going to pick Seattle. I just think Russell Wilson, Metcalf, Lockett, that's enough said there.
Yeah, I picked Indianapolis, and I'm really wondering. Indianapolis has a good defense, but I'm going to go ahead and hang with the Indianapolis.
That's okay. I have a little bit of a crazy pick further on down the list. Okay. For game 3 with Jacksonville and Houston, this is a no-brainer. It's Jacksonville.
Okay.
I think on game number 4 between Philadelphia and Atlanta, I'm taking Atlanta because Philadelphia's offensive line was awful last year, and I don't think a new quarterback is going to fix that. And Atlanta, they have a great offense, and they still have Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley. So I think Atlanta's going to win.
Got it.
And for the Chargers versus Washington, I'm taking the Washington football team in this one. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick, along with the Washington defense, is going to be able to bring the W. to Washington.
Well, you are in agreement. You're in agreement with Dan.
It
He
was
thinks
a
so
tough
too.
choice because the Chargers, they got James back
Yeah.
on their defense.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous about that pick. It's definitely going to be a fun game to watch. Okay, so for the Steelers and the Bills, I think that the Buffalo secondary is going to win the day. It's probably going to be a close game that comes down to the final quarter, and I just have more faith in the Buffalo secondary than I do in the Pittsburgh secondary.
Okay.
For game 7, the 49ers and the Lions. This is just going to be short and sweet. It's going to be the 49ers. They're going to win because it's the Lions. They're going to lose. Let's see. Vikings and the Bengals. I think Dalvin Cook is going to be too much for Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow is yet to prove himself, in my opinion.
Okay, got you down for Minnesota.
Yep. And then between the Jets and the Panthers, I had to think a little bit on this one because I think Zach Wilson's got good potential, but I think Sam Darnold wants a revenge game, so he's probably going to bring his A game against his former team. And then the Panthers offense with McCaffrey and then their wide receiver Anderson, I think it's just going to be too much for the Jets.
Okay.
Between the Cardinals and the Titans, I think the Titans are missing too many key players with COVID, and just I think Arizona's going to win. The Titans do have Derrick Henry, of course, but I think this will be a close game as well, but I think Arizona's going to pull out on top.
Okay. Tennessee's got Julio Jones, but you might be right. I don't know how much the coach might not even be on the sideline, so that's going to be, it could be a tough one for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now the Sunday night game.
Well, the Browns Chiefs.
Sunday late
I have to take the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce. Chris Jones is going to have fun on the defensive line. I expect it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think the Chiefs will win the shootout. So Denver and New York Giants. I think the Giants don't have a very good offensive line, and I think Melvin Gordon for the Denver Broncos is going to be able to take control of that game, and Denver's going to come out with the win.
Okay.
Now, the Packers and the Saints, I had to think about this one quite a bit. But it kind of came down to I don't have a whole lot of faith in Jameis Winston, especially up against the elite Green Bay pass rush that they have over there. So I'm taking the Packers over the Saints.
Okay.
And then between Miami and New England, I feel like New England, they've completely revamped their offense and their defense. And I think Miami's going to win this one. I want Miami to win this one, and I also think they're going to win it because they got a little bit more veterancy, and they've been working together longer than New England has.
Yeah, a lot of new faces with New England. Dan and I picked New England, but Miami's not a bad pick. I gotta go back. I'm not sure Daniel picked. Daniel, I gotta rewatch the video and double check that one. What do you got on this
Yeah.
Nick game?
Yeah. Uh,
That's
okay,
Chicago.
between the Bears and the Rams, I think the Rams defense is just going to be too much for the Bears. And also Matt Stafford with the Rams, it kind of seems like an upgrade for him. And I think he'll be able to shine a lot more than he did in Detroit with the Rams.
You mean with the Rams? He's pretty excited about being there. Dan said that Bears front line can't block anybody, so we're all in agreement there. Now the last game is Baltimore at Las Vegas.
Well, this one's going to be short for me. I just think that the Baltimore offense is just going to move the ball all over that Oakland defense. So I'm taking the Ravens.
Okay. And you're with Dan on that pick. I picked Las Vegas. I just think that Vegas right now has more offensive weapons than Baltimore does, but you might be right. I think I have a good chance to be in third place after these picks. All right, thanks for your picks, Justin, and I'll get those down, and the video will go up on Thursday morning.
Yeah, all right. I'm excited to partake in watching the first week football coming up.
Well, me too. I'm really ready for this. Maybe not Thursday night's game, but Sunday's games are going to be amazing.
Definitely.
All right, thanks for joining us. Have a good day, Justin.
All right, you too.